Hey guys, it's Woody, and I thought I'd talk about YouTube's attempt to remove anonymity from the website, right? So right now, when you're on YouTube, you're not, John Jones. Instead, you're, XX Leak Sniper 1337 or something like that. And what their objective is to have you use your real name. So this is what it looks like. It shows a little pop-up window in your web browser and says start using your full name on YouTube. How you appear now, how you'll appear after. And then it gives like another screen to show you a second example. How you appear now, how you'll appear after. Now for me, this isn't much of a change. If you want to know my real name, my address, where I went to college, my old phone number, my traffic violations and such, it's really just a Google search away. I don't pretend to be anonymous on the internet. I just go by WoodysGamertag because that's what everybody knows. But maybe you actually are anonymous on the internet, and they would like you to change that. And it all ties into two things. One, YouTube would like to have a greater appeal outside of like the hardcore YouTubers that are there now, and what's generally been called the internet fuckwad theory. So let me explain. If you take a normal person, add anonymity and an audience, they become a total fuckwad. I'm sorry about the cursing. This is the way that it goes. And what YouTube is trying to do is appeal to a much bigger audience, right? So you see this with their Prime stuff. They've actually, reached out to people and said, we want videos that people will watch while they're slacking off at work, right? This is something that YouTube is actually trying to capture. YouTube would like to gather the people who are now watching television. Which, by the way, is where YouTube is headed, right? I want to talk about what YouTube is now. YouTube now is a place where you can get a huge variety of content. And for that reason, it's interesting. One of my first uses of YouTube was to look up off-roading trails and see what they were actually like. I wanted to see people in Jeeps and buggies and Toyota trucks conquer off-roading trails. And that was on YouTube, and that would never be on television. Me, right? I'm on YouTube. If you want to hear some guy, talk while playing video games, I'm on YouTube. But you could never see NBC putting together a show with just me. At least I don't foresee that. But YouTube offers, the kind of variety that you can't find elsewhere, and that was its original appeal. Now, YouTube has a huge base of viewers, and I guarantee you Hollywood is coming. Hollywood is coming in a really big way. Right now, we think that a channel with 4 million subscribers is a big deal. Dude, that is just the start. When the next Desperate Housewives-like super hit, forgive me, I haven't had TV in a while, old reference. When the next Heroes-like super hit or whatever comes along, we're going to see channels with 25 million subscribers. If UFC decides that YouTube is where they want to put their fights, we're going to see channels with 50 million subscribers. What if the NFL decides that YouTube is a good place to host their stuff? Or soccer, right? Soccer is global. Football for you international guys. Sorry, that's hard for me to deal with. I don't know. But what if soccer starts having a YouTube channel and those things go big and international? Then we're going to see channels with subscriber growth that make machinima seem like the early days, right? The kiddie stuff. It's going to get super duper huge. And when it gets there, they don't want the comments section on the next Desperate Housewives to look like the comments section on Sniper Montage, right? Where everyone, oh, that's set up, bacon gay, etc., etc. Like that's not what they're looking for. They don't want spoilers filling the comments and things like that so that it ruins people's enjoyment of the show. They want to have a more civil, responsible, nicer place, right? Like and we'll see if it succeeds or not. It is really hard to bring that in there. If you start that way, it works, right? Facebook started that way. Google Plus started that way. And while Facebook isn't, perfect in terms of civility, it's closer to real life, right? People behave on Facebook in a similar way to how they behave in real life, mostly. And I think that's because, that's the real them that you're seeing there. They have their name out there. But World of Warcraft, for example, tried to make it so that, things would become anonymous. And the users, some of them were like, no way. I have a lot invested in my brand, Super Orc. And I'm a famous World of Warcraft player. I hope there's not a famous WoW guy called Super Orc. But anyway, I'm a famous guy, and now you're taking that away from me because nobody knows Matthew Stinson or whatever your real name is, but everybody knows Super Orc. And then there were other people who just said, "Hey, man, I really enjoy gay and homophobic and racial slurs in my off time, and I don't want that to be associated with my next future employer, right? Like I can think of some guys, especially my haters, who would be completely unemployable if they were to look at the sorts of things that they say and do online. So yeah, YouTube is looking to strip away your anonymity. And this is just the first step, so that they can go more mainstream and that they can perhaps defeat network TV. Will it work? I think they will defeat network TV, but I don't think they'll ever strip away an anonymity. People just won't stand for it. If you're still here and you enjoyed the video, perhaps I've earned your like. If you're new around here, you can click on that top blue subscribe box and see my future stuff. You might have missed Mail Monday. It was a pretty good one this week. A lot of guys are commenting. I don't know. I got a lot of good feedback on my Mail Monday, so you might like it. And the one on the right, I talk about my upcoming hand surgery. So you can check those out and have a good day.